This is very funny story, guys, because I had a conversation with ChatGPT a few weeks ago, and I honestly don't even remember how we ended up in that discussion. But there was a moment when it said, "Yes, Fabio, you were in a burnout situations for years," and initially, he estimated that I had been in burnout for 6 years. Then I also share my entire story. I say, but are you sure? So I share the story, the one that you can see on my Substack. Actually, you should check it out. Just go, at journey to successclub.substack.com in the About section. And anyway, after I pasted my story in ChatGPT, after I told my story, it confirmed that I had actually been in burnout for at least 10 years. Like, I was shocked. Now it may be less, he said. It said I experienced burnout only 10% of the time. But I was shocked. I was shocked and asked how confident it was about this judgment, And he estimated that roughly a good, let's say 75, 80%. That's how much sure was. And that was a huge number for me. Now, listen, we should not rely entirely on AI, all right? It can make mistakes and everything. But let's be honest, it is one of the most intelligent beings right now. So let's say it's partially correct. Let's say that maybe a good 50%, right, is right about this this statement about myself. Even then, I'm still shocked because I thought I was doing well, honestly. Yes, I've experienced so many migrañas in these years that I was afraid of having a mental breakdown. That's also true. And the journey I've had has not been easy. I didn't figure out everything 1 year, guys. In fact, it took me more than 13 years because by the end of the story, I didn't have a clear vision. And yes, this brought me to some frustration. I felt like Nemo from Pixar, lost in a big ocean. So I knew I wanted financial freedom, but I didn't know where to start. I'm sure many of you can relate to me, which is why I decided to talk about this story of burnout. I want to break down a couple of things and wrap up this episode for you guys, for us, knowing that you have gained valuable knowledge and haven't wasted your time with me today, okay? Hi guys, my name is Fabio from Journey to Success and welcome. Today we're going to talk about the story of burnout, what the signs are, and how your current approach helps with recovery. Maybe you have experienced burnout, or maybe you are experiencing now without realizing it. But of course, as always, before to go forward, please subscribe, okay? So I know this is the right direction to lead you guys, to drive you, to guide you towards your journey to success. Now, let's start. Let's discuss some of the layers that contribute to burnout. These layers were present in my experience. And if you are on a similar journey, I'm sure we are addressing the same issues, okay? So first of all, it's a bit ironic because during this fascinating conversation with ChatGPT, he said, based on what you share about feeling isolated, exhausted, and running on autopilot for years, it looked like classic signs of burnout. So mental fatigue, low energy, and a sense of detachment from your usual motivations. And so he said that, and then I was a little bit touched, kind of. So he noticed that the conversation touched me. And there was a moment he said this: "It didn't mean you were permanently broken." And I was shocked. I say, but I supposed to talk with an AI. What do you mean? This phrase is so human. So anyway, he said it didn't mean you were permanently broken, just that your system was overloaded and needed a reset. You have been taking steps to recover by focusing on Substack, setting boundaries, and reconnecting with meaningful work and relationships. Okay, that was his answer basically. So let's break everything down and revisit the signs that point to my burnout, evidently. And my current approach has helped with my recovery, guys, even though I implemented automatically without realizing until I had this brainstorming session with AI. And in this case, the AI, anyway, does a good job about something because it can effectively structure what we experience without an emotional layer that obscures our judgment. Okay, so this is very important. Plus, if you have been on the same journey, it can help you a lot. So signs that pointed to my burnout and eventually can help you. ChatGPT says uh, to me, you felt like you were on autopilot for years, simply going through the motions without real engagement. Now, burnout or not, it is true. I dedicated over 13 years to my journey, guys. You know, always changing and reinventing myself. I like the balance and struggled to do anything well, even activities I was passionate about. Even starting and finishing a video game that sometimes used to take me 6, 7, or 8 months, or even important tasks that I delayed, saying phrases like, I don't have time to practice the car now, for example, because now I'm starting to practice to drive again. Or I don't have time to learn Dutch now, you know, or I used to choose very, very, very short indie games because I was afraid uh, to invest, to spend so much about my time. When I'm a video gamer, it's important to realize yourself professionally. Yes, very enough, but it's also important to fulfill yourself, reconnect with your childhood space. So the truth is that I spent so much time trying to figure out what to do with building the version of myself overall that I ignore anything else. Okay. And for that, I want to give a big thanks to Lois Moret, the fiance, the fiance, future wife. I want to thank her because she supports me, and especially because she tolerates this part of myself, this crazy creative part of myself. And I really appreciate that, truly. And I'm just realizing now that I was chasing something that did not yet exist because I did not have a clear goal yet. And this also involves the people who love you. Remember that. Anyway, still in this contest, there are three types of people. The first group are individuals that accept their current situation due to societal expectations, such as education, jobs, and family. Okay. So they normalize their lives to a minimum level and are content as long as they believe they're happy. Um, so if you are genuinely happy in this space, I mean, that's perfectly fine for me. I won't judge you. However, if you are not, then we need to talk about it. All right. Number two, the second group. So this group has a dream and invest energy and time in it. So they often have a clear vision from a young age, one goal, one purpose to which they dedicate all their energy. And these individuals are also successful in their personal lives because they know how to balance their passions, their hobbies, such as video games or sports, whatever. And then there is the third group. And this is where I find myself. So, like many of you, I had different dreams, but societal and familial expectations directed me away from what I truly wanted. So one day I just realized this wasn't going to work, and I knew it was time for me to reinvent myself. And if you are in this space, right? If you are in this group, I empathize with you because I have faced similar hardships and I know how hard it has been for you as well, okay? And indeed, connecting to our main point, hmm, it's true that you can feel like you are on autopilot for years. I felt like I was a candle that had been burning its wax for years and years, guys. If that is the meaning of burnout, again, I get that now, truly. Because when I look back, I'm not surprised it took so long to understand my path. More than 13 years to figure out what I want to become, guys. It's a lot. I wouldn't say it's a lot. Maybe it depends on our journey, right? But let's say I didn't expect would have taken so much. Hey guys, just a quick break. Here at Journey to Success, I want to welcome you into something special. The Journey to Success Club. It is more than just a newsletter. You will become part of the club. When you subscribe for free, you'll be the first to know when new episodes are out, where you also get extra inspiration to fuel your own journey with daily motivation from me. And if you have never thought about growing your Substack community or using it to support your business, product, or podcast like I do, I would love to offer you a 7-day trial so you can see all the prompts I use to grow my Substack. Just head over to journeytosuccessclub.substack.com or click the link below to start growing your community today. We're in this together, guys. Now, back to the show. But it's clear now. It's clear because I didn't have a clear goal. So also makes sense, But it also makes sense that this process consumes a lot of time and energy at the same time. So anyway, once you finally understand your 2.0 version of yourself, which can take years, I hope for you know, the next step anyway is figuring out how to move forward and achieve your goal. So the good news is that since you struggle a lot in the beginning, when you begin working towards your goal with a clear vision, it can actually become much easier. And it is where I am right now. So right now I'm in a situation where I know what to do, I know how to do, have a clear vision about my present, my future. So I've just to go forward. So just keep going and it will be worth it because it's going to be easier once you are over, that situation where uh, you had just to figure out your second version of yourself. Then you have just to practice habits and being consistent, and then you can reach the finish line. Another point, ChatGPT said, emotional fatigue and isolation are were big in your case, especially struggling to connect meaningfully with others. So there is definitely some truth in this. I mean, there is definitely some emotional fatigue that comes from trying to navigate my job and figure out what and how to achieve my purpose, which often leads me to avoid making connections because I recognize that my time was valuable, is valuable. It's different, of course, when I find someone with a shared experience or a person who overcame before me, like an entrepreneur, or another example, someone from the same cultural background, like some Italian dude who lives in the Netherlands. But I have to say, generally, I don't have trouble making connection in those situations. But I understand what ChatGPT might suggest, that I don't put much effort into relationships that don't feel rewarding. Mm? I mean, I focus on making connections uh, only in case uh, those connections help me grow and develop. Okay. And most of you can say, yeah, okay, fair enough. That's what you are paying to choose a different level. So when you try to figure out how to grow your mindset to a higher level in your potential field, you end up closing the doors to other people. And listen, I can agree with that. Plus, I feel very comfortable in my own bubble. Just leaving me alone is fine. I'm good. Okay, I'm good with myself. But here there is a but. Uh, there may be many examples, but mm, let's give you this one. I live in the Netherlands, and I'm still behind in learning Dutch because I've been focused on figuring out my own path, my personal journey. But now I'm facing the consequences of that. I sometimes struggle to understand the people around me. And yes, I feel isolated in a country where I actually feel at home. So it is hard. It is truly hard. So you need to be careful with that. Another one, setting boundaries. Setting boundaries. So I didn't used to set boundary. It is important to avoid, always being there for others at the cost of your own energy. I have to thank my family for this because whenever they ask me for something, I felt pushed to say yes. However, say yes often means, guys, I'm willing to spend my energy and my time on you. And if I have my own projects to work on, I might end up procrastinating those for your sake. That's the meaning. Okay, in a more personal grow way. I'm not saying you should always say no. Instead, it is essential to evaluate your energy level and consider whether spending time with someone is truly valuable to you or not. Additionally, guys, if it leads to procrastination on something important, even if with lovely people, right? You need to understand if it is worth at that moment to do something with this person. For example, while I was preparing this episode, my mother in law texted me asking if I want to go for a walk. I was so busy that, like I had to record an episode, writing another one, recording again, then creating guides for my Substack mentorships on Fiverr, and activating my email marketing. A few years ago, I would have said yes, actually, even though I missed her. And honestly, it's been a long time since we last saw each other. But yeah, I, I was too much. It's not about being busy, but the I had my energy um, had to be on what I do to in a way that I could and I can personally grow. You know, so it's crucial to set your boundaries because your energy, your time, and your life belong to you. You have to understand that. At the same time, creating too much isolation can lead to unfortunate consequences. So it's important to achieve a little balance in anything you do. I understand it cannot be easy, and I never truly had balance in my life. But remember, any excess can bring challenges in the future. Okay. So if you acknowledge that and are okay with the consequences, then you can move forward. There is no problem. For example, I have not learned Dutch yet, despite being here for years, but now I feel out of place. So I take that as a lesson and I know that I should do something about it. Another one is feeling unmotivated by previously inspiring time. Still, by ChatGPT, that was the statement towards myself. So if you don't feel a sense of satisfaction over time, guys, it's common to begin feeling discontent. Okay, I recall a year when I hosted multiple guests on my podcast. And despite having many lovely interactions, I eventually lost the joy in it. I couldn't enjoy anymore. It could have been due to the process or maybe my choice of topics. I don't know. But eventually I decided to move to solo podcasting. And people say that solo podcasting is more complicated to grow. But the truth is I'm enjoying more now. And I'm not concerned about increasing my audience. Okay. This is a more general issue. Aiming toward a goal simply because uh, once inspire you is not enough if the inspiring factor is not strong enough. Okay, remember that. For example, aiming for thousands of followers on Instagram because of a viral reel can lead to demoralization if it doesn't work out. Okay, which is often the case. Another key point was the frustration or stagnation despite consistent effort. And also true, I've been in the same position for over a decade. So, what's the solution here? Choose something you genuinely enjoy. When you enjoy what you're doing, guys, you won't feel frustrated or dormant, and time will fly by. For example, if you love to write and one day decide to become a writer, pursuing the dream shouldn't decrease your enjoyment unless your perspective shifts from passion to monetization. And of course, if money doesn't come yet, it can lead to frustration. Okay. Now, how my current approach helps recovery. ChatGPT said focusing on Substack gives you control and allows for authentic expression without the pressure of short form content. To put it simply, we often want to be everywhere, but end up not succeeding anywhere. It is essential to choose a place where you truly belong and focus your efforts, whether online or offline, it doesn't matter. So, building your community on a single platform helps reduce overwhelm. And in this way, you can save also your energy. So, once you are familiar with the platform and know your community, guys, you can still evaluate your energy levels and decide to explore other options. But later, not straight away. Don't do straight away. Don't try out any social media altogether. Yes, in my case, I'm still posting my weekly soundbite on Instagram. The soundbite, I don't know if you know, are short audio content in MP4 form, from the podcast. And yes, sometimes I also share photos on Facebook. And I also schedule hundreds of quotes for X, okay? But the real community I'm focusing on is on just one specific platform, that's Substack. And you can also notice from my engagement in my notes there, that's pretty high. And this was a mistake I made for years, guys. Being focused on more than one platform is not truly advisable. Not in the beginning, anyway. Okay? I mean, at least until you figure out how to grow on that specific platform. And then, of course, it's up to you if you want to dedicate again time, energy to a second platform. Then we have another one. He said, engaging deeply with a smaller positive community provides a meaningful connection. So this is a second point. Yes, we are still in a current approach that uh, helps me to recover a little bit from my burning out. So, guys, engagement is important. Okay, a phrase you may have here or maybe know. Well, a lot of people that come from digital marketing and online marketing, generally they know this phrase: content is king. But they often forget the most important one: engagement is queen. Content is king, engagement is queen. You have to engage to grow your community. It doesn't matter if it is online or offline, you have to engage on one platform. Can you imagine, yeah? You just have two shops, physical shops, and you're just one person. How can you engage with both clients, with both shops? You cannot, of course. You are going to end up, concluding nothing in both shops, which is the same as online. So I really hoped in the past, someone would have said to me, and I don't know if today would be different actually, but at least I say this to you in this episode. Another key is focusing on creating content about things that genuinely excite you, helps to keep your motivation high. And we previously discussed this, guys, so right on the frustration or stagnation key. So when you choose something, you need to choose something where you can enjoy, a way you enjoy what you're doing. You won't feel frustrated or exhausted, and time will fly by. And the other key, I think, is the last key about the approach of recovery, is recognizing and respecting your limits. That helps rebuild energy and clarity. See, I know it's hard to not only to recognize your limits. I mean, it's not hard to recognize your limits, but I know it's hard to want to recognize your limits because we often don't want to acknowledge them. The moment we do that, we might feel less capable than others. So we tend to pretend this limit don't exist. Okay. But the truth is, something I've been learning over these months also, is that the more you accept your limits, the more you can find solutions and alternatives that will boost you, lift up you, you know? I want to give an example and I want to be honest. If you listen to all my episodes from the beginning, all right, you will notice different versions of my approach to podcasting. So sometimes I used to read stories, other times I relied on content generated by AI. But then I felt guilty because I felt like an imposter. So there was a time when I recorded my own content only via some keynotes, So like like I used to read some keynotes, and then I just talked, you know, with my English. My English was not very good since it's not my native language, but I did that as well. I try out a lot. So what is the point here? I knew I had something to say still, something to say to the world, but the way I deliver my message didn't match the fluency of most English speakers, okay? So how did I become more grammatically fluent? Well, I didn't. I'm sure I improved in these years, but not towards a native level, of course. you know. I write everything down, everything. That's my trick. Even now, as I say this, it's because it's written, and I'm practicing natural speaking. I guess that is a voice actor does. So meanwhile, I read my own transcript, totally natural, and I feel in my own space in this way. And it is also efficient because I cut nothing in post production. If it happens, guys, it's literally max a couple of cuts, max. And I decided to write my own transcript instead of relying solely on AI, uh, because AI shapes your persona when we talk about creative writing. It did with me. It used to shape my persona, my words, my meaning, my entire soul in the writing. So I couldn't see myself. So I'm sure you know what I mean when we talk about creative writing. And I only use AI to wrap up and make a call to action. That's it. And in this case, it just makes a reassume for me with some nice key points. So it's also nice. And I always love checking for plagiarism because I'm satisfied with my job. For example, in this case, this transcript, right, that I'm that I did had only 2% plagiarism, which was still present in another episode of Mine Online. So that's the reason, by the way. And even if they say that up 20%, it's still great. And still, so 2% plagiarism and 5% for AI generated patterns, which I'm really proud of. I'm really proud to see that 95% is mine. How do I do that then? I do use Grammarly, which, yes, provides AI correction, but that doesn't change what I mentioned before. It doesn't change my soul, basically. Also, it has a powerful tool for review suggestions and my personal corrections, especially to make the transcript entirely my own. So that's very important. And this is especially important because if I don't recognize a word, right, or I don't know how to pronounce it, or let's say I've never used it before, then I remove it from the script. And listen, I could reach this level of awareness only by recognizing my limits, okay? I recognized my limit. Recognize your limit, guys. In my case, is that my English is not perfect. And I had to be honest with myself. That's okay. The key is to find ways to improve without feeling overwhelmed or burnout. So ask yourself this kind of questions, all right? Questions like, okay, fair enough. So what are my limits? And the answers will lead you to freedom. Now, let's wrap up. Today we talk about my personal story with burnout, the signs and the small but powerful shifts, that are help me recover. We explore how staying on autopilot for years can drain your energy, guys, and how setting boundaries is truly essential, and how choosing one platform, especially one focus, can give you the clarity to grow without burning out. Now, I want to hear from you. How do you recognize the signs of burnout in your own life, guys? What practices or small shifts help you recharge and move forward? Share your story with me on Substack. I would love to know and connect with you, of course. And if you found value in today's episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss an update. And even more important, guys, share this with a friend who might need a reminder that burnout doesn't mean you're broken. Okay? It simply means it's time for a reset. And I want to leave you with this marketing tip today. I'm sure it will be helpful to you one day. Content may be king, But remember, engagement is queen. Okay, remember that. Whether online or offline, a real connection is what keeps us moving forward, guys. So keep creating, keep connecting, and keep moving towards your own version of success. Thank you so much for being here on Journey to Success. And remember, together, we're building a life that chooses joy one step at a time. I'll see you in the next episode. Cheers, guys.